Does the gentleman from Texas rise?
Mr. Speaker, for the purpose of a privileged resolution, pursuant to Clause 2A.1 of the Rule 9, I hereby notify the House of my intention to offer a resolution as a question of privilege to the House. The form of my resolution is as follows. Raising a question of privileges of the House. Whereas the gentleman from New York, Charles B. Rangle,
Will suspend. The House will be in order. Members will take their seats, remove their conversations from the floor. The gentleman from Texas has a right to be heard. Gentleman from Texas.
Thank you. The fourth most senior member of the House of Representatives serves as chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee, a position of considerable power and influence within the House of Representatives, and whereas Clause 1 of Rule 33 of the Rules of the House of Representatives provides a member, delegate, resident commissioner, officer, or employee of the House shall conduct himself at all times in a manner that shall reflect credibly on the House, and whereas the New York Times reported on September the 5th, 2008, that Representative Charles B. Rangle has earned more than $75,000 in rental income from a villa he owned in the Dominican Republic since 1998, but never reported it on his federal or state tax returns, according to a lawyer for the Congressman and documents from the resort. And whereas in an article in the September 5th, 2008 edition of the New York Times, his attorney confirmed that Representative Rangle's annual congressional financial disclosure statements failed to disclose the rental income from his resort villa. And whereas the New York Times reported on September 6th, 2008, that Representative Charles B. Rangle paid no interest for more than a decade on a mortgage extended to him to buy a villa at the beachfront resort in the Dominican Republic, according to Mr. Rangle's lawyer and records from the resort. The loan, which was extended to Mr. Rangle in 1998, was originally to be paid back over 7 years at a rate of 10.5%. Within 2 years, interest on the loan was waived for Mr. Rangle. And whereas Clause 5A.2a of House Rule 25 defines a gift as a gratuity, favor, discount, entertainment, hospitality, loan, forbearance, or other item having monetary value, and prohibits the acceptance of such gifts except in limited circumstances. And whereas Representative Rangle's acceptance of thousands of dollars in interest forgiveness is a violation of the House gift ban, and whereas Representative Rangle's failure to disclose the aforementioned gifts and income on his personal financial disclosure statements violates House rules and federal law, and whereas Representative Rangle's failure to report the aforementioned gifts and income on federal, state, and local tax returns is a violation of the tax laws of those jurisdictions, and whereas the Committee on Ways and Means, which Representative Rangle chairs, has jurisdiction over the United States Tax Code, and whereas the House Committee on Standards of Official Conduct first announced on July 31st, 2008, that it was reviewing the allegations of misconduct by Representative Rangle, and whereas the House Committee on Standards of Official Conduct announced on September 24th, 2008, that it had established an investigative committee in the matter of Representative Rangle, and the House Committee on Standards and Official Conduct, and whereas the New York Times reported on November 24th, 2008, that congressional records and interviews showed that Mr. Rangle was instrumental in preserving a lucrative tax loophole that benefited Neighbors Industries, an oil drilling company, last year, while at the same time its chief executive was pledging $1 million to the Charles B. Rangle School of Public Service at CCNY, and whereas House Committee on Standards and Official Conduct announced on December 9th, 2008, that it had expanded the jurisdiction of the aforementioned investigative subcommittee to examine the allegations related to Representative Rangle's involvement with Neighbors Industry, and whereas Roll Call newspaper reported on September 15, 2008, that the inconsistent reports are among myriad errors, discrepancies, and unexplained entries on Rangle's personal disclosure forms over the past 8 years that makes it almost impossible to get a clear picture of the Ways and Means Chairman's financial dealings. And whereas Roll Call newspaper reported on September 16, 2008, that Rangle said he would hire a forensic accountant to review all of this disclosure forms going back 20 years and provide a report to the House Committee on Standards of Official Conduct, which Rangle said would then make public. Whereas nearly 5 months after Representative Rangle pledged to provide a public forensic accounting of his tax and federal financial disclosure records, he has failed to do so. And whereas an editor of the New York Times on September 15, 2008 stated, "Mounting embarrassment for taxpayers and Congress makes it imperative that Representative Charles Rangle step aside as chairman of the Ways and Means Committee while his ethical problems are investigated." And whereas on May 24, 2006, then Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi cited high ethical standards in a letter to Representative William Jefferson asking that he resign his seat on the Ways and Means Committee in light of ongoing investigations into alleged financial impropriety by Representative Jefferson. And whereas the conduct given rise to this resolution, Representative Charles B. Rangle has dishonored himself and brought discredit upon the House, and therefore be it resolved upon adoption of this resolution and pending completion of the investigation into his affairs by the Committee on Standards of Official Conduct, Representative Rangle is hereby removed as chairman of the Committee on Ways and Means.
Under Rule 9, a resolution offered from the floor by a member other than the majority leader or the minority leader as a question of privileges of the House has immediate precedence only at a time designated by the chair within 2 legislative days after the resolution is properly noticed. Pending that designation, the form of the resolution noticed by the gentleman from Texas will appear at the record at this point. The chair will not at this point in time determine whether or not the resolution constitutes a question of privilege. That determination will be made at the time designated for consideration of the resolution.
Thank you.
I thank the gentleman from Texas.